Hi everyone, my name's Dave Wood and I'm the Director of Products here at Conferma Pay, the foremost provider of virtual payment. And today I'll be talking to you about the rise and revolution of mobile B2B payment. The immediacy of lockdown earlier this year created an inability to create and process payment for receivables. Pre-COVID, 25% of business transactions were checks, ACH transfers, and even cash advances. These methods were difficult to operate working from home. As a result, many very quickly turned towards credit card payments. It was a quick solution, but not the perfect solution, as it did create a friction area with the reliance on the distribution and the movement of this physical plastic around the business. So it did create a management problem at best, and it was error prone at worst. They could even be turned as a lethal weapon of fraud if not managed correctly. So one of the key attributes of tokenized virtualized payment is the one-to-one relationship with the item you're buying and the ability to reconcile that instantaneously. Many have moved towards this secure payment method to ease the concern of decentralizing the payment processes and still maintaining complete sight across all activities. Visibility and control remains essential to the central teams. When so much is changing so fast, it's imperative to have the master controls on as many moving pieces as possible. It's our circumstances today that are forcing us to pay attention to lingering problems more than ever. The expectation from business users, thanks to the B2C experience, have added further incentive for the change. This drive for consumerization, to be able to buy items for the business the way that we buy in our personal lives, is a key driver. It's low touch, it's auditable, and quick to facilitate. It can also be done from any location. And let's close this full loop about supplier readiness here as well. Historically, buyers have been open to embracing cards for payment, but the suppliers haven't always been as forthcoming. The change is now clear across a vast array of merchants actively encouraging the card payments over cash and installing contactless terminals. 99% of point of sale machines being installed in 2020 are contactless, tap and go enabled, ready for mobile digital payments. I would call out three specific use cases as a result of the pandemic. Immediacy, the requirement for funds to ensure business continuity. Access to the corporate funds whilst working from home. And then control, visibility and issuance of the credit for the new and temporary workforce. So to speak to those three in more detail, disruption to our day-to-day operation has never been hit as hard as in March 2020. Our frontline heroes across the critical industries, they continue to operate throughout lockdown. They continue to deliver daily and did so with restricted services around them. The restaurants were closed, limited hotels stayed open, and many shops moved to online only. The workforce had no option but to live off convenience food, and in most cases, self-fund this. This wasn't right. After long, grueling shifts, the people worked tirelessly to provide us comfort. They shouldn't have to pay out of their own pocket. Virtual cards into the digital wallet is the answer, allowing the individual to pay using corporate funds. It's the right solution for both corporate and employee. Moving on to the home working, the access. So infrastructure, finance, HR departments, they work tirelessly to arm the remote workforce with the tools to operate, the purchase of home equipment, internet, monthly subscriptions, and so on. Cash flow importance, even seeing the invoice back to account operation suspended by some suppliers. Virtual card payment unlocked the opportunity for a secure payment method per transaction with clear tracking and reconciliation benefits. The quick payment cycle also ensured that the supply chain was supported and could continue to operate throughout this very challenging period. And then to the final, the control. Through COVID, certain industries have boomed, and they required a new wave of employees, be it permanent or temporary. Corporates were finding it difficult to operate and furnish the new workforce with the appropriate tools. Corporate policy in some cases even required a certain level or a length of service before providing a corporate card. Virtual cards provided a scalable solution for organizations that needed to release funds in a controlled manner. Anyone working at home, on site, or traveling has the ability to access, request, or create a card that's right for the task or the project that's in front of them. The concept of working capital or improving cash flow, it's not new, especially in the commercial card industry. Traditional payment methods have been leveraged to retain funds within the business for as long as possible. And whilst this is a direct, quantifiable measurement, the slow to pay behavior can have a negative impact on the quality of activities within the supply chain. Mobile B2B payments and virtual cards extend the days payable outstanding by leveraging the credit terms provided by the card issuer. Furthermore, it also reduces the days sales outstanding for the supplier. It's a win-win for both parties. Corporate social responsibility and managing a healthy supply chain is integral, even more so at this current time. Buyers play an important role in a long-term strength of their supplier relationship. And a throttle relationship to retain cash flow may reflect on the liquidity of the supplier and in turn the service development over time. Late payments have been a simple but a less ethical way to preserve working capital, and governments are taking steps to prevent this. Many corporates are looking at the alternatives such as virtual cards to try and move towards this change in legislation. Now, to put payment tactics aside for a moment, there are corporates who adopt the bank of employee. This is where the employee's personal funds are used to pay for the expense, the product, and then they go through the appropriate reclaim process to recover the funds back from the corporate. The corporate then in turn has an obligation to reimburse that employee in a timely manner on receipt of the expense claim. In most cases, this payment to the employer or to the employee is in a shorter time window than a centralized credit line would attract. Consolidation of spend under one account provides control, visibility, and also offers the corporate the opportunity to explore incentives with their chosen card issuer. Generating revenue just by changing how an item is paid for is again another plus point for the digital virtual card payment. While issuance growth has lagged acceptance, we have seen a positive momentum, with many top issuers beginning their contactless card issuance in the last 12 to 18 months. The issuer's ability to support contactless payment geographically is reflected on the contactless adoption global rankings. China, Norway, and the UK, they make up the top 3 countries in terms of counts of contactless payments, whilst the US sits in 7th place. In the US specifically, the readiness of suppliers with the point of sale machines and the learning and behavior towards contactless payment, this increased issuance from the issuers of contactless cards could see the US jump to 4th in the rankings in 2021. Adoption for the issuer has been made simple from a technical perspective now. A contract with the scheme, a contract with the wallet providers, and a contract with a technical service provider could see an issuer supporting mobile B2B payments with limited development or in fact none at all. Visa Commercial Pay is the initiative brought to market through a partnership between Visa and Conferma Pay. This is a prime example that an issuer being able to embrace virtual payment in the digital wallet through a market-ready solution. The vision is to increase accessibility of tokenized B2B payment through mobile applications and furthermore exposed APIs in the normal B2B and endpoint applications. A call to action for the issuers. If you aren't in discussion about mobile readiness with your scheme now, it is heavily recommended you do so, and you do so very soon.